So Chip told me we have a new project vehicle coming in from Gary Sinise, and he wanted to add a little bit of a performance touch to it. So the vehicle was donated to him. It's going to be auctioned off at Mecum, and today we're here to give it a little bit of that extra MagnaFlow sound. So with the ZL1, we're getting 650 horsepower. We want to hear it. So we want to have one of our competition series systems going into it. So we get all the valve control, straight through exhaust, and of course that great MagnaFlow sound.
Well, the 2023 Camaro that we're building for Gary Sinise Foundation, of course, we're going to get rid of that stock exhaust and put a way better MagnaFlow exhaust. And we've got Richard here from MagnaFlow. He's going to help us to install it. And Richard, thank you for coming up, and thank you for such a beautiful product.
Yeah, I mean, they started off with something really good. GM wanted something that's going to be able to flow the horsepower. You know, we've got that supercharged LT motor in there. We go to a larger diameter tube. Of course, we want a little bit more sound because the one thing GM does is go on the conservative side, so that leaves us with some opportunity for some better airflow. We get rid of some really big pinches that you saw on the stock exhaust system and really open up the exhaust to have a nice performance tone.
Well, it's beautiful. I love these cast pieces that you've got here.
Yeah, we had to make our own valve, and in doing our own valve, they are V-banded in there, so that means if we ever have to do a warranty service or something like that, they can be removed without the rest of the exhaust being welded together like the factory system. But they do incorporate the factory solenoids, so that means all the computer functionality of opening and closing remains intact.
Now, this valve doesn't switch it to another tube.
Correct.
Or block it off. It's just opening it up.
Well, what it does is it limits the airflow, because again, when you're cruising with that 650 horsepower motor, it doesn't need the dual 3-inch tube to flow, so it's going to close up slightly during the AFM mode, the active fuel management, which is like 4-cylinder mode, because it doesn't need the airflow. The second valves in the back, on the other hand, those are going to be there to open up so that you can actually divert to a louder or quieter operation.
Right. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah. It should be a fun one, though. We got to get it on this convertible, so there's a little bit more stuff to work around.
First thing we got to do is get this old exhaust system off.
Yep. Yes. All right, we got our last muffler here. Got everything else up there, and
That looks awesome.
see how everything goes. We should be able to like fire it up and even test out the little actuators to see.
What do you need me to do?
All I need from you is to help get the tips aligned here.
Okay.
So I'll get this in here, and once we get it up here, we'll get...
That's a stock bracket?
Yes.
Back on?
Yeah, we reuse all the factory brackets.
It's so simple. You just bolt it on.
I got to plug in our actuator because we reuse the stock
Motor.
Yep. So all the functionality remains the same. Nice part about all this adjustment is every little small variation, we can get that tip just right.
That's cool.
The biggest thing is we got to twist the lower section here, the tips, and make sure they're all nice and even. Because we do intersect the factory pipe up here, there's a lot of variation from unit to unit, so we've got all these little adjustments here to make sure that we get everything clocked in just right. Yeah. So we got a lot of adjustment.
That looks better.
We got both sides to kind of find the compromise.
Yeah, I think that looks good there. Did you get your knuckle?
Hmm?
Did you get your knuckle?
Yeah.
Is it bleeding?
A little bit.
Want some super glue?
Does it need to rotate at all? And then I've got to tighten these to get the final locations.
Yeah. This looks like it could be going that way a little bit.
Yeah, the factory pipes are a little twisted sometimes, so
Yeah.
we have to make all the compensation for that on the aesthetics on the backside.
Is this one tight?
Pretty close.
See how much space there is here?
There's a difference
Okay.
between each side, yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I said I need you at the back to look and see
Yep.
is the tip depth correct. And
Yeah, it needs to come down on that side. Not quite that much. Little more.
down.
Down. Right there.
Okay. All right.
This one's okay.
A lot of clearance. I always love hearing it when you get these supercharged LS-based motors. This happens to be one of the new supercharged LTs, but there's that GM sound that you sort of expect, and when you get that extra bit of grunt from an open exhaust, well, nothing makes me smile more.
Well, with a little help from MagnaFlow, this Camaro should sound sweeter than Lieutenant Dan Band. Listen to this. Those MFers sound good.
Notice you still get the valve operation. You kind of go from the touring mode to the sport mode and the valves close. It really just affects the interior sound mostly so you don't get all that drone while cruising.
Yeah, it's nice.
But then you get it on the wide open throttle, it'll open them. If you go to track mode, it'll open them so you have the sound both inside and out.
It's really cool.
Yeah, we
That's
keep all
nice.
the functionality and
Thank
got
you.
a little more sound.
Thank you from Lieutenant Dan.